Welcome back, my friends. Currently, we're on day 244 of Russia's disastrous invasion of Ukraine, and today's incredible top story is that the Russian Minister of Defense, Sergei Shoigu, has notified his counterparts in Turkey, France, Great Britain, and the United States that Ukraine is allegedly planning a provocation with a dirty bomb. This story makes absolutely no sense for Ukraine to use a dirty bomb on territory their military is about to retake. As soon as President Zelensky heard this story being floated by the Russians, he immediately put out this video refuting Russia's claim.
Тому, коли сьогодні російський міністр оборони влаштовує телефонну карусель і обдзвонює іноземних міністрів з розповідями про так звану брудну ядерну бомбу, всі все добре розуміють. Розуміють, хто джерело усього брудного, що тільки можна уявити в цій війні.
President Zelensky in this video makes it clear that under no circumstances would Ukraine ever use a dirty bomb on their own territory. So Russia's growing dirty bomb threat narrative is highly concerning. Russia has no proof as to Ukraine's dirty bomb intent or even a logical reason why Ukraine would ever use one, but they are spinning this narrative to foreign governments. Now, maybe you're curious what exactly is a dirty bomb, so let's quickly define it. At its most basic, a dirty bomb is a conventional bomb laced with either radioactive, biological, or chemical materials, which is disseminated in an explosion. Using radioactive materials would make it a type of radiological dispersal device, or RDD, a term often used interchangeably with dirty bomb. In the history of mankind, nobody has ever exploded a radiological dirty bomb, but there is suspicion that extremists in the past have attempted to build one, and a dirty bomb is not a nuclear bomb. It is much less destructive than a nuclear device, such as an A bomb or an H bomb, which uses fission or fusion. So this is a conventional bomb, laced with maybe radioactive waste from perhaps the Zaporizhia nuclear power plants that you could disperse over an area to make it unsafe for humans to be in. So let's now look at the war map and let's talk about what is Russia planning, what is Russia thinking. And Russia wants to give up on the north bank of the river because they're taking horrendous losses every single day. So what Russia is currently doing is they're rotating out their professional, trained, contract military. They're getting those guys out of the front lines. And they're rushing in recently mobilized Russian men who have no training, no experience. They're just handing them Mosin rifles and telling them to hold the line in the trenches. So Russia is currently trying to get everything of value, everyone of value out of this region, and then potentially they're going to blow the hydroelectric power plant dam to flood this area and maybe drop a dirty bomb in the city of Kherson. It's at this point the Russian government can go on state TV and tell the Russian people, oh no, this territory that we told you was part of Russia, it's now unsafe because those evil Ukrainians blew the dam, flooded the area, and dropped a dirty bomb in the city of Kherson. It's not safe for our military to be there. That's why we abandoned it. That's why we gave it up. And of course, any recently mobilized Russian men that they're leaving on the North Bank, they don't really care about those guys. They're just going to lose them. And the evidence is everywhere that Russia is trying to pull out of this city. Here is a video of communication cables in Kherson that have been severed by the Russian military. Let's watch about 30 seconds of this clip together.
Вот это вот люк. Видите, еще несколько дней назад здесь был люк такой пластиковый. Это связь от кабеля. От кабеля уже все порубили. Вот они, переруб, вот видно. Перерубанные кабеля связи. Это вот Херсон. Район какой не скажу. Какие-то.
So what the Russian military is doing is they're destroying critical infrastructure because they know they're losing the city anyways. In addition, it's now being reported that cultural and historical artifacts in the city are being taken by the Russian military. So on Russian state TV, apparently they even listed all of the important and valuable stuff that they should steal before leaving the city. Russians stole the bust of Alexander Suvorov from the center of Kherson, confirmation that Russians stole the monument to Admiral Ushakov as well. So they're going to the libraries, the museums, anything of historical or cultural value. They're stealing it now and taking it to the south bank of the river, more than likely taking it to Russia. Here is a gas station in the city of Kherson that is no longer accepting payment in rubles because they think the currency is going to be of no value very soon. So here's an interaction between a man going into a gas station hoping to pay in Russian rubles and being told they only accept Ukrainian currency now.
У нас рубли.
У нас гривны.
Почему гривны?
Не знаю, нам сказал.
А кто сказал? Да, дайте мне, пожалуйста.
Дмитрий Анатольевич, тут приехали, почему мы продаем за гривны? Сейчас я дам трубочку.
Алло, да, здравствуйте. Да, я хотел уточнить, а почему вы работаете только за гривны? А как зовут руководство? Фамилию, имя, что, пожалуйста, назовите. Ну, кем я являюсь? Ну, вы подъедете сюда подъедете на заправку. Что вы говорите?
I'm amazed there's gas stations still functioning at all. I don't really understand how they're getting gas. I guess it's being piped under the river into the city. Additionally, on Russian state TV, they're telegraphing what their plan is should Ukrainian forces retake the city of Kherson. And here is a military analyst on Russian state TV just saying, as soon as we get the civilians out, we're free to destroy the city.
Мы считаем, идем, смотрим на Херсон, страшно боимся.
Нет, я думаю, что, Константин Федорович, я с ним полностью согласен. Мы просто выводим население и развязываем себе руки. И нашей артиллерии, и нашей авиации, тем более, так сказать.
So he just admits it on state TV, that as soon as we evacuate all the people, this unties our hands for our artillery and aviation to do whatever it wants to the city. Similar to how Mariupol, 95% of all buildings were destroyed, they're telegraphing that they're planning to do the exact same thing in Kherson should Ukrainian forces retake the city. Speaking of RT News, this is an incredible story, but RT actually suspended one of their hosts who, on air, called for drowning and burning Ukrainian children. So I'm going to show you the middle minutes of this clip. The clip from Julia Davis, she's the one that offers these translations from Russia Media Monitor. And we're going to watch about 1 minute of this clip together. This man right here is the guest. The camera is going to turn to the host who got suspended in a second. But just read what he says about what they should do to Ukrainian children.
Мне рассказывали про то, что Украина оккупирована москалями, что если бы не москали, они бы жили как во Франции, а вот они страдают, потому что оккупированы. Причем это были не украинские дети, которые украинцы говорят по-украински. Такие там тоже были, они были совершенно нормальные.
Какие? Откуда были эти дети?
Это были совершенно русскоязычные, с русскими фамилиями пацаны, которые... У кого-то там отец был военный, у кого-то кто-то еще. Ну, то есть это были абсолютно русские, русскоязычные. Но
а прям топить таких надо было в Кherson. Прям вот там, где плыны кача. Вот прям топить этих детей, топить.
Это не
прям
ваш
в
метод.
Кherson. Это не ваш метод, поэтому вы интеллигентные люди, писатели-фантасты. А это наш метод. Вот прям сказал, что, так сказать, москали оккупировали. И сразу прям бросаешь в в реку с бурным течением.
Вообще для этой цели на Руси традиционно использовали.
So any Ukrainian children who say they're being occupied by the Muscovites right now, they should immediately be drowned in the river. Later in the clip, he talks about burning down their homes as well. Apparently that was enough to get him suspended, but this isn't far from the actual Russian state policy on what they should do with Ukrainian civilians. So for that reason, thanks to RT News and the actions of the Russian military, they're not exactly winning the hearts and minds of the people they're currently occupying in Ukraine. According to a latest poll from the Kyiv International Institute of Sociology, 86% of Ukrainians believe that it is necessary to continue armed resistance. So all of these drone attacks and missile attacks on civilian centers to break the will of the Ukrainian people and get them to somehow surrender. This strategy from Russia for the last 8 months isn't really working. Let's now mention a couple other incredible stories. There's just so much I can't go into detail about everything, but there was an incredible GoPro video of a Russian pilot who was shot down by Ukrainian forces, and the entire thing was caught on camera. I'll link this article down below. If you just probably Google Russian pilot GoPro video shot down, you'll find it. It's about 2 minutes long, and yeah, it's pretty incredible. When Russian pilots fly at low altitudes to avoid air defense systems, this makes them vulnerable to man-pad systems like Stingers. And yep, that's another Su-25 shot down. In addition, it just seems like every day there are Russian planes falling out of the skies. There are lots of videos that I could show you of Russian planes inside Russia just crashing into the ground, crashing into Russian apartment buildings. These are not Ukrainians shooting them down. These are maintenance and pilot errors. As the Russian Air Force is being pushed to the max, they're not getting proper supplies, they're not getting proper maintenance, and a lot of these planes, after 8 months, they're not safe to fly, but these Russian pilots are being told you still have to fly them, leading to a lot of aviation catastrophes. Next story is that Russians Medvedev threatened defense industry arrests during a tank plant visit. With weapons running low, Russian industry officials could be charged criminally for missing contract requirements amid sanctions. So here's Medvedev. He's one of Putin's right-hand men, and he went on a tour of a tank factory in Russia and just told people working at the factory that if you don't meet your quotas, if you don't meet your contract requirements, you're going to be arrested and you're going to be sent to prison. I don't know how motivating that will be for these poor Russian workers who, if they don't have the parts, they don't have the parts. You can't magically apparate a tank out of nothing. Here's an interesting follow-up from my video I posted last weekend about this Russian soldier posting a video that went viral online begging people to contact the administrators in Belgorod to get recently mobilized Russian soldiers logs on the front line. So this man right here is saying recently mobilized Russian men are dying on the front lines because they can't get wood. They can't get proper logs to build proper trenches to protect themselves. Well, apparently, I just assumed this was incompetence, but apparently there's more to this story. It's linked down below. But in Belgorod, the mobilized will be given logs for the trenches only upon application to the Ministry of Defense. Local authorities in Belgorod fear that firewood will fall into enemy hands. This is according to the deputy governor of Belgorod. So local officials in Belgorod don't want to give wood. They don't want to give logs to their soldiers because they're scared the logs will fall into enemy hands and then the Ukrainians will burn those logs for warmth and comfort during this winter. This is how insane the Russian military is and how stupid this all has gotten, that they're scared that their logs will fall into enemy hands because their soldiers on the front lines fight so poorly. I can't even keep up with all this. Next incredible story to share with you is that the armed forces of Ukraine struck the base of the TikTok army. These are the Kadyrites, the Chechen militants who fight for Kadyrov, and they finally showed up within HIMARS striking distance, and they posted videos on social media. Let me show you about 30 seconds of these Chechen fighters who fight for Russia, just posting their normal dumb stuff.
Таких тарелку зряду, она знает лучше. Масаю, ола, ола. На ну, зачем дальше?
So these Chechen militants don't do any serious fighting. They just like making social media videos. And they posted this video where they look like they're in a school. And someone was able to identify the building, recognize where they were filming their videos, and they put in the GPS coordinates for a HIMARS missile. And the Ukrainians successfully took out 40 of them and possibly injured another 60. You can find the videos, I'm not going to play them, of them talking about getting blown up. Sure would be nice if these guys were fighting for their independence rather than fighting for the empire that currently occupies their homeland. Next picture I want to share with you, somebody was very clever and saw this historical distinction. So here is a coin of the Kievan Rus from the 10th century, and you'll notice on it they have their trident emblem that they still use today. And Russia makes all these historical claims that they're one people, and not so much. The Muscovites, if you see their coin from the 14th century, after they were occupied by the Mongols, they're still using the double eagle symbol to this day. So what happened 800 years ago is that when the Mongols invaded the Kievan Rus, the Ukrainians in Kiev resisted, and the city was destroyed. It was a huge setback for the Ukrainians at the time, but the Kievan Rus. But the Muscovites collaborated. The Muscovites bent the knee and surrendered to the Mongols, and then lived as a vassal state under them for over 100 years. So I think it's historically pretty interesting to see what symbols survived from 1,000 years ago and who actually is the current legitimate successor of the Kievan Rus, not the Muscovites. Here's a picture in Kiev of the city in blackouts because Russia is targeting their electrical grid with these kamikaze drones. There needs to be rationing and conservation of electricity, so maybe for a couple hours every day, the city unfortunately will have to go dark, but somebody took this amazing picture with cars on the road, still driving in traffic with the city without power. Final video I want to share with you is of a Ukrainian soldier playing the violin in a bomb shelter in Rivne. As a result of Russian missile attacks, parts of the city remain without electricity and water, and all the women and children have to shelter underground. I only wish I had more to show you from this clip, but I only had about 30 seconds. That's all for this video. Glory to the heroes, glory to Ukraine. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support my channel. Comments or questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, take care, be safe.